Frank.
Okay, how's my audio?
You're ugly.
Okay.
That was the second opinion. Perfect. Ladies and
Yes, it's
gentlemen,
fine.
welcome to the show. This is Ham Nuggets Monday night. This is the show where we do ham radio in real time. We don't know what we're doing. We have no clue going in how to do any of this stuff most of the time. This is no exception tonight. And we may or may not have a successful outcome. However, we will spend a bunch of time together playing ham radio, and that's what this is all about. Tonight's topic is a piece of software I'd never heard of until last week's show called OP25, which is supposed to be some type of scanner SDR software that runs on Raspberry Pi, and you now know as much as I do. There's a link in the description for the OP25 software if I remember to put it there. So come play along with us. We have a couple of new
I hadn't
faces.
heard of that either.
Yeah.
Until
nice.
In the intervening week.
So this is a couple of new faces tonight. We have our usual Jim here, who will be good for all sorts of Jim-related activities. And then we have Tim, which rhymes with Jim, but they are not the same person, I promise you.
Nope.
Tim, you held up a Northwest Digital Radio Thumb DV.
Yes.
That is an expensive dongle.
That's a dongle.
That's a good dongle.
It's a dongle that I like to play with.
That is not going to do what we're trying to do tonight.
No.
that tool, we actually use that for our bridge between all the different modes, because that is an AMB chip, an AMB
D-Star,
chip.
just D-Star.
Yeah, so it'll decode. The chip will do other things besides D-Star, but we are using it for D-Star.
Right.
It will decode and encode things, and you can get on digital mode radio, the DMR, YSF, and D-Star without a radio, and just use that thing. And I think you could even plug it into your Android phone and use
an
DroidStar?
OTG adapter, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, use DroidStar to make your Android one more radio than it already is, because it's already like 7. So
if you're one of those deficient people that don't use the phone from, the right phone.
I used to have this plugged into my computer, and I used the Blue DV software, which you guys did about a month or so ago, and then I moved it over to a Raspberry Pi because I was having problems with the COM port, just too many USB devices on my computer. So I put it on a Raspberry Pi, and it works great. So if you guys hear me on the Toads reflector and stuff like that, it's from there, since I don't have a local D-Star or DMR.
What are you
repeater.
doing for audio in?
Microphone.
For the Raspberry Pi.
Oh, the server, the Raspberry Pi is just hosting the AMB server.
Okay.
So you're running the AMB. You're running a separate app.
Yes. Yeah. So it just runs the AMB server and does the encoding, decoding through the chip, and then sends it out, or I guess sends it back to the software, then out to the various services.
We'll have to try that one night.
Oh Lord.
Well, Tim is volunteering. Did you hear him volunteer?
Yeah.
I think that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Tim will be doing all the usual Tim things. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Tonight
Very
the role
good.
of Jim will be played by Tim. I hope there isn't any confusion amongst the audience members.
Is that tonight or
No.
in a future episode?
No, we're going to do OP25 tonight. I am running a Raspberry Pi 4, and this is my traditional, my usual hotspot that I run my DMR or D-Star or YSF off of. And what I did was I pulled the SD card out, set it aside. Hopefully I don't forget which one it is. And then I put a fresh Raspberry Pi bullseye image, because Bookworm is too new for this and will probably not work at all. And so that's where I'm getting started from. So if you want to play along and use your hotspot and your SDR dongle, you can do that. And I left the hotspot hat plugged in because it should be fine, just sitting there. And then we have a new guest tonight, Frank. Frank's been on once before, like
once
7 years ago or something. It's been a long time. Frank, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Tonight I'm going to be playing with this guy as we play along with this.
Cool.
And it's going to be lots of fun. Once you're plugged into my Raspberry Pi, we're good to go.
Cool. Frank has a YouTube channel. Frank, what is your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is Ham Radio Wilderness with Frank, KG60W. Just search my call sign. It'll come up, and I'm in the YouTube chat as well currently.
Cool. And he's over on Toads. If you're not on Toads, you're missing out on an awful lot of fun. There is a link at the top of the chat. Link at the top of the chat over there. Can't talk and do that other thing at the same time. So I'm going to get started
Helps to
by
use your hands more.
sharing out my screen. Yeah, I know. By sharing out my screen here, and you can see this is Raspberry Pi GNU Linux 11 Bullseye, like I said, and this is a tool called NeoFetch.
Did you upgrade your system since last week? Because I can actually read that screen. Whatever you were doing last week, we couldn't actually see it very well. That's readable.
Yeah, so this is a Mac OS machine instead of a Windows machine.
So you're streaming on Mac and then feeding in the Pi video to the Mac?
Yeah, this is VNC, and it's VNC over local net. But other than that, everything's exactly the same except for, I've replaced the OS on the stream computer here.
Right. Steve is a congenital Windows hater.
I gave it a shot. I gave it a second chance. It failed. So now we're back on macOS, and I must say,
craftsman who blames his tool, lad.
It's noticeable the improvement in quality of the tool. The old tool did the job, as you all suffered through for the last 6-8 months, and now the new tool, as Jim has already noticed without being prompted, is better. So
I'm not going to argue. I love Macs way better than I love Windows, but
I'm celebrating. Y'all can celebrate right along with me.
And it's actually readable on the live stream tonight.
Well, I know. That was the thing that really, since we're going to celebrate, I'm sorry. Here we go. Now's the time on Nuggets when we dance, Tim.
I'm dancing. You just can't tell.
He's ripper dancing.
That's
right. Like that Elvis pelvis thing going on below the camera, right? Is that what that is?
Absolutely. Can't point the camera down. This is a family show. But I'm just like that guy that leaned up against the DJ booth back in the 90s, I'm just kind of there. I'm bobbing. I'm bobbing my head and I'm dancing.
Right.
Feeling the groove.
Ronald's taking all the fun out of the room. I'll just turn on my unit in SDS 200 to scan P25. You can do that.
Hello, Shane.
That's no fun.
Our man Shane is in the chat. Adventures in Blind Videography. The chat is already rolling. Dude, we're up to 103 and you haven't even broke anything yet. This is impressive.
Well, they just know when quality's going to happen. I don't, but they do.
Izzo's here.
Oh, now watch out.
They heard we're going to talk about real radio.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I'm going to move Tim up, and I'll get covered up by the super chats. And Doc Brad with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Doc. Appreciate it. Excellent.
I am so glad that mutes my mic.
So you can swear?
You got ducking turned on or something?
Ooh, Lord, that was loud.
Huh.
Yeah, it's coming through the monitor pretty loud.
So I forgot, because I haven't done a Raspberry Pi live stream in a while, but Chromium on Raspberry Pi on VNC is very slow. It's not bad in person, but it's really slow over VNC. And I'm trying to find
I think, isn't there like a switch or something you can install to speed that up?
Yeah, it's called Firefox.
Shane has dropped a $4.99 super chat. Shane, this is the thank you with the hot chick.
Thank you very much, Shane.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Do we know who the hot chick is?
No idea.
I'm sure her name is Linda or Karen.
I'm going to go with Karen.
I don't know. She didn't look like a Karen.
Yeah. I'd go with Linda.
Linda, okay. Well, it's true. She does not have the Karen haircut. That's the dead giveaway.
No, it is, yeah.
It's my mom.
Yeah,
James Hannibal, my mom never looked that good, I'm just going to say.
Man.
You can never tell what he's going to say. Quirky is a good name for him.
Speaking of quirky, James has got some new shirts. Check out his website on Etsy. Fire starts here. I don't know if I want to see that. All right, so let's do OP25. Pi download.
Stephen Cristofero, the newest Macs before now, because there's a live show at 7 p Pacific time. They're going to announce new stuff. But get you an M1 or an M2. The M1s are older, but you can probably get a better deal on one. I have an M2 Mac Mini Pro, which is a very nice machine, and it was about $1,200. So any Mac is a good Mac, dude.
Yep.
Just not a Big Mac.
Right. Copy
I'm
that.
not a big Mac fan.
No.
Quarter
Yeah,
pounder all the way.
I tried Mac when I worked at the university. You know, they're obviously big Mac fans, and they gave me one, and I didn't use it very much. I had a hard time finding the backspace key on there.
Because there isn't one.
That's what I'm telling
Was
you.
that
man.
like
I'm just-
Mac in 1998 or something? I mean, was that
No,
like System 7 Mac?
No, there's still not a backspace key on it today. It says
There's no-
delete.
It says delete. It works like a backspace key.
No, it doesn't.
But it doesn't work like a delete key. That's the problem.
Whichever.
No, it doesn't. But the delete key on your numeric keypad works like a delete key.
And then the home and the end keys go to the beginning of
yes.
the page and the end
See
of the
how
page.
how
and I
how
hate
this is
that.
already starting to become confusing. You don't have this problem with a Windows computer.
No, it crashes too
You-
often
you-
for you to have problems.
Yeah.
With it. Oh!
This is going to be fun. So I'm like an agent provocateur. We'll get the host and the guests all bitching about Windows versus Mac.
Now, to be fair, I have both Windows, Mac,
To be
and
fair.
Raspberry Pi,
Same here, dude.
but my laptop go-to is Windows for radio stuff and Mac for photography stuff and video editing.
Yeah.
So I guess first things first, it's really hard to find a website for OP25. I get all kinds of install guides and arguments. Oh wait, that's just the stream.
Yeah. It's just a stream. Brian Hendricks with the $10 super chat.
Brian.
Thank you, Brian. I guess we should fix that one day. That's the left side only.
Yeah, we need to replace them with all new versions here soon.
New quarter.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think you need to get a hold of was it Randy down in marketing?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Randy is also in production and in janitorial and reception and the mailroom.
Ken Lewis, I think most of us probably are too. We just have our preferences and we draw the line in the sand and argue about them incessantly.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, Rizix. That's right. That's right. Screw your Mac. I want RSX 11M.
Let's see what link I put in the description of the video. This is ridiculous that it's...
I saw
this-
that they said the link you posted was a very old, outdated version.
So let's not use
So-
that link then.
So there are actually two forks of OP25. You want to use what's called Boat Baud.
That's the one I'm on.
Okay,
Perfect.
so yeah. So you want to use that, and if I remember right here, I had it up on my screen earlier. Unfortunately, I can't copy and paste into the chat from my Pi here. I don't have it set up for that. Get clone and the web's HTTPS. Oh, here, let me see it. I can put it in the private chat here.
Frank, you could probably send it over APRS
Probably
Right.
faster
Or
than what I'm
WinLink.
doing.
or WinLink.
WinLink, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it has to be APRS.
What? Oh, that's why. No, that's not why.
All right, Steve, in our chat, in terminal, you'll want to run that command.
Why is it not copying and pasting?
So while Steve is figuring that out, we have two things I want to hit for the group. TJS with a $5 super chat toward Randy's raise. Thank you, TJS. Appreciate it, man.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
TJS 1.0. Thank you very much. Does that mean that you are TJS senior and there's a junior, or is there a hopeful
Ooh.
junior? And then is TJS like a secret? We're not supposed to know what that means, or is your name like Tommy Joe? Did I get
Tommy
that?
Joe Steve.
Those are hard hitting questions.
Right, right.
Or Timmy Jim Steve.
Yes.
Jim Steve.
Timmy Jim Steve. Makers of fine men's underwear.
So I downloaded the repo. I did git clone and then the location of the repo, and then there's an install.sh and send it. So /install.sh, and it is doing some stuff. This might be the easiest nuggets yet.
This is going to take a while. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, Jim's knocking on wood. I can hear it over here.
He's like,
Hail Mary, here we go.
Kyle have a stream tonight?
He probably does.
Does he?
I got a text today from a friend of mine who used to work for the fire department with me. And I had sold him some junk that I had, Kenwood receiver, shortwave HF receiver, and a Baofeng and a G5 RV like 4 years ago, right after I got my ham license. And I didn't want any of that stuff, and he was dying to buy it. So I sold it all to him. And he called me today, and he wants to know what he needs to do to get an actual ham license. So I thought that was pretty cool. He's the first person that has ever really approached me specifically about doing it. I think we talked on the phone for probably half an hour, and I tried to share everything on ham in a half an hour in a phone call.
Yeah. And so he's now scared of ham radio again.
No, he wanted to know all of our channels. He
Cool.
thinks mine is coolest. He thinks the Smokin' Ape is very smart, but a weirdo.
Yes.
You know him. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So he was, he may be in the chat tonight. I don't know. It's
We've
not
got
TJS,
Michael.
though.
KD8GIJ asking, are you running on a Pi 5? I believe there are no Pi 5s in the hands of mere mortals like us. I think they all went out to special previewers, and I don't have one yet. I do want one because, new Pi, why not? And TJS is still lips tight on what TJS stands for. So it is, in fact, Timmy Jim Steve.
Yep.
Timmy Jean.
Absolutely.
Not Timmy Jim. Timmy Jean. Timmy Jean Steve.
Yes.
And yes, Kyle is streaming tonight.
Okay. So when it comes time for Kyle, y'all go watch him. And if we're not done, we probably still won't be done when he's done. So come on back.
And actually,
I got the
you can
senior
run two different monitors at the same time, or
Michael
two windows,
has.
Right.
and actually support both content
Right.
creators.
Yes.
Look at Tim with the, that's right.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
put Kyle on your phone and watch us on the computer.
Michael is flexing harder than Jim does when he talks about his new radio. He had a Pi 5 yesterday. Michael, I expect it overnight express at my door tomorrow morning.
That's right. Got to try it out on the Ham Nuggets episode.
Yeah, so I can share it with everybody.
I have not ordered one because I'm Pi flush at the moment.
And according to Mateo, apparently after the installation is over, you'll want to reboot the Pi. I did not have to do that when I did mine.
Living on the edge. That is a fantastic price on a Pi 02W. You stole that. Unless you're talking about the day it came out 4 years ago.
When I got mine, I got them from Chicago
overpaid.
Electronics, and they were like 15. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I think they
that's
were like $10 brand new.
Okay.
But then there was the Pi crisis of the last 2 years, and
Right.
I paid $110 for mine.
Your Pi 02W?
Yeah.
Oh,
Man,
I hope they
I
use
thought those were for the-
Vaseline.
I thought those
Yeah, I
were for the children.
It's
For the
supposed to
children
be.
to learn how to program. Can't believe they're charging so much for it. For the children.
Think of the
Last
children.
week. He got
That's
that
right.
last week for $17. The crisis is over. All right, it wants more disk space. Hang on.
Mm.
It wants all the disk space.
Taylor is going to be. Taylor is in a secure, undisclosed location, several time zones away from us,
Yes.
and he's going to be dipping into the world of contesting at O4Z. So he's going to be contesting and watching this show at the same time. That man is dedicated. Taylor is also the proud owner of a Coffee and Ham Radio's Tumblr.
Let's zoom in on that. It's still backwards, Jim.
Okay, well, just pretend it says Coffee and Ham Radio's the right way.
Jim, do you know where the little
Well-
checkbox is in your camera?
Oh, he does it on
Stop it.
purpose.
I do it on purpose.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Come on. I clicked
Michael,
the
I
wrong
am
one.
joking. I will not be at a shipping address that I know of for a week or two.
At least that's what he's telling the Marshal Service.
There it is.
There it is. Oh, my goodness. Oop.
And that's a blue one. That is the original unobtainium version, and now you get a black one.
And I have the demonstrator model right here. This tumbler comes double packed.
So you can
And
keep
this-
the box for when you need to resell it.
Right? Because, I mean, years down the road, this is going to be a collector's item. There's the current one right there.
No,
in
wait a
blue.
minute. That's correct.
Yes, he fixed
I
it
changed the camera.
while you were watching.
Oh, wow.
Somebody was bitching. I changed the camera.
Mm.
And these are available on coffeeandhamradios.com for $24.99 plus shipping.
I'll have to try that ham till it hurts.
And they are
General delivery
limited
at the local
editions
post
because
office.
once we sell the color, we ain't selling no more. Until we
And-
start over.
And Scott is right. You can do a general delivery at any post office you're closest to.
I haven't tried it.
I would be afraid to do that because I don't want anybody going, what's this package to Jim Perry? This could be sketchy.
Ambitone synthesis enabled. So this is going to decode ambi stuff. That's awesome. Dan in San Diego has the blue mug. $14.92 super chat. Thank you very much, Dan. Hit it, Jim.
My eyeball's twitching seeing that Linksys router there.
Dan is retro, isn't he?
That is
Well,
very retro.
that has probably been repurposed for ham radio. So he's probably doing increased power output and all kinds of other stuff.
Exactly right, Marvin. Oops.
I do believe I have one of those routers at home still.
I have 3 or 4 in a cabinet drawer somewhere.
Oh no, mine's still in use.
Bryant Wally wants to know, will it hold a 40? It is a 32-ounce tumbler, so you have to pour a few out for your fallen brothers.
You notice how T.O. has rehearsed that line more than once.
Right.
Oh yes.
Well, it's a thing you do when you pour it out. You have to say that.
Yeah.
Usually, it's in reference to a 22.
Don, N5SKT Don Nemesis, is been a member for 35 months, and he bought 3 of the mugs. I had to figure out how to ship 3 at one time.
Duct tape.
I used shipping tape, but yeah, same thing. Thank you, Don.
So I guess really quick before we get into James and keep the show rolling along a little bit, if there's any ham radio related questions we can answer while this thing is doing all the hard work for us, be sure to put them all in the chat, y'all. James KI5OEB, member for 19 months. Isn't the mug worth 6 dB? That's 6 dB on a cold day. When the weather is warm and you put a cold beverage in it, it's worth 12 dB.
Right.
Because it will do cold and warm.
James, thank you. We appreciate it very much.
TJ, I understand that you are a senior. I have fully grasped that concept. We're still wanting to know whether TJS stands for Timmy Jean Steve or not. But thank you very much for the $5 super chat to clear up the old clearing up. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes.
I don't know. Timmy James, Timmy James
Whoa.
Steve
Easy.
kind of rolls like Billie Jean King, just right out there.
Apparently it doesn't. You were trying, though.
Timmy Jean Steve.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Don, this will work just fine with an RSP-1A, I believe. I can't imagine it wouldn't.
Yeah, I think it should. I think it's dongle agnostic. And
Yeah.
then Dan in South Dakota is correct. The blue mug, which is no longer available, you got to get these things while they're still available, is worth 7 dB with hot beverages on a cold day and 14 dB with cold
Right.
beverages on
It's
a
like
hot
having an
day.
amp.
Cold beverages on a... you know what I'm saying.
Sit down
Roll it,
before
Jim.
you hurt yourself, son. Thank you, Dan, member for 7 months.
Thank you, Dan. And Mike, Ham Radio Tube, is absolutely correct. He says that he is first, and no one has claimed that title yet. So, good job, Mike.
To go back to Don's question real quick, yes, you can use one of these with an RSP1A. I have seen others use it. I have not done it myself.
Rock on.
I feel like I got a problem.
You
Got one of
many
those
problems.
too.
What problem?
Just that I got all this stuff.
He's got gas, gear acquisition syndrome.
Yes.
That's why there's a green screen back here so no one knows about the extent of my problems.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I've got an RSP1A. I've got the one that DX Engineering sells too, the DX Patrol or something like that.
TJS is saying that no, we will not know his initials. And I can respect that. I just still think it's funny to try and guess.
He feels pretty strongly about that too. He dropped another super chat just to say no.
No in all caps.
Or maybe it's for the Timmy Jim Steve thing that he's saying no.
It is not.
I think it's no.
Thank you, TJS. Ken trying to cheat. I saw that one from Hamstick Eric. Heard you can use the mug to talk to yourself. Long path. I will definitely log it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple bands. Get your N1CC self. Eric, be all set. I did the N1CC wrong. The N1CC is a POTA award, and I was talking to Tim about this. I thought that it was 10 contacts on 10 bands in 10 parks, and I ran out of daylight before I got to the end of that, and I wasn't going to make it, and I was really unhappy because it was the last day in the park. But it's 1 contact on 10 bands in 10 parks gets you the N1CC award.
I do believe there's one, and Tim, correct me if I'm wrong here. I do believe there's one that's 1 person, 5 bands for NXC for the NXCC.
I don't know. We can look it up.
NXCC is a specific call sign. It's the person's name who did it first, I think.
Because I have that award, and I only logged 5 contacts or 5 bands.
Well, look it up. It'll tell you. Kevin, KD9TXI, Transmit, Indiana. Welcome to membership. When you become a member,
has its rewards.
It does have its rewards. When you become a member, you get access to the super secret room on the Discord, and you get a one-on-one call with us from the Coffee and Ham Radio's crew when you're a member of any of the channels. And you get green text, which means something completely different on YouTube than it does on 4chan. You're in good company here.
Right. And no antibiotics are required after visiting the secret room. I'm just saying.
And then Jason Jenkins is saying, any suggestions on getting the electric company to fix the lines other than calling in again? Nope, that's all you got to do is just continue to be a pain in their butt, and I will say the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
And
There
real
is,
quick,
and it's black, Ken.
There was something, and it's been a while, and I feel like, and I might be wrong, but I feel like in the olden days, the electric companies were a little bit more responsive to ham radio operators, because I think a lot of those guys might have been ham radio operators.
You probably. I agree. That's probably exactly right, Tim.
But I don't know what you say today. I bet if you Google 8 or YouTube 8, just those questions, somebody out there that's got some inside knowledge is gonna know what the magic words are in a video.
Your Public Utility Commission would be a good place to start.
Like it's interfering with my pacemaker or something like that.
Tell them it's making your insulin pump squirt too much juice or something.
Yep.
There you
James
go.
is asking where to get a Pi 5. Jim likes Chicago Electric. DigiKey and Mauser probably are going to be more expensive because that's not their
Spark Fun.
bread and butter. SparkFun would be a good place to get it. I'm sure Adafruit is going to have one eventually.
Yep.
Micro Center, if you're near one, or if you have a friend. I am neither near one nor do I have any friends, so I'm out of luck.
And as far as power goes, there are a lot of hams still in, well, at least for California, Northern California, PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric. There are a lot of hams that are both linemen and repair techs. I was surprised to find out how many are actually there. So you never know what you'll find in your electric utility.
Yep. Element 14 is another one. Element 14 is where our buddy Derek works. And I didn't realize this. It's obvious in retrospect, but Element 14 is silicon. And that's why they chose the Element 14 name.
Really?
I just thought it was a cool name. Like,
it was obvious to me. I was like, oh, yeah, I see what they did there.
Yeah, come on. Who didn't know this?
The install is finished. Now what?
Now you'll want to go to, I'm having to go through my review notes here. In command, you'll want to set up an argument using rx.py, and let me see if I can, I'm just going to drop it in the YouTube chat because it's easier to translate from there to.
If the stream gets shut down because of Frank putting that in the chat, we apologize in advance.
Right.
Michael, I think you're probably exactly right. Every sad ham got picked on when he was little and probably had to wear snow pants to school, which is just a kick my butt sign if you ever had to wear snow pants.
You got that in there, Steve?
Not yet.
Okay. I did tag you so it would come up.
I've got it.
Yeah, it just takes a couple of seconds. But I also only have one screen still because I'm lazily trying to solve that problem. It's more of a physical space than a just go buy a screen problem.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm tight on a penny. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the reason why I'm
tight on a penny.
Physically limited on space. Yes,
that's an understatement.
I get 9/10 of a penny change when I squeeze a penny.
We have another new member, Jason Jenkins. Steve, you got a lot of people to add to the champagne room tomorrow.
I do.
Jason, thank you very much. Appreciate it, buddy.
That is the one champagne room where you're not afraid to sit down on the seats.
Right. The floor is not sticky.
That's right.
So I did the install and I didn't get any error messages, but I also didn't get it installed unless it's, just local.
Okay. I missed going into the folder. You're going to have to go into op25/op25. No, hold on. And then op25 the GR op25 repeater folder.
Why did I go into there?
That's where they put Raspberry Pi. I don't know why.
Icon of the desktop sure seems a lot easier to click on.
Well, we haven't finished the install yet, which is the weird part.
No. Like an MSI file, you just click and go.
Yeah, I mean, I ran the install program, which I guess it just installs the dependencies, not the app.
Tim, that's at 30,000 and still climbing, or he's being really obtuse. I'm not sure which.
Oh, I know he knows what I'm talking about. He just may not have picked up on it.
No, I answered you. I heard you. I answered you. Yeah, no, I was saying that the install.sh seems to only install the dependencies. So now I need to do the CMake here.
Oh, if you're going to do CMake, that's going to take another 45 minutes.
So what's the next step, Frank?
The way I did it, all I had to do was run that rx.py and it ran.
Yep, still don't have an rx.py anywhere.
Okay, run CMake then.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, it's in the apps folder. Why would? Okay.
They must have changed it since the last time I ran this.
See, this is the problem I have, and this isn't. It's kind of a Linux thing, kind of not, but there's Windows programs that are this bad. WSJTX suffers from some of this too, and it's the most beloved of Windows programs. If they're not going to use a standard install package, for the love of God, have a directory folder structure that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I'm going to go into the OP25 folder, which makes sense because that's where I put it. And then inside of that, I'm going to go into the OP25 folder again, because why
Right.
not? And then randomly the GR OP25 repeater folder,
Lord.
and then the apps folder.
And then the apps.
Then I
Yeah, that's
found
what
it.
I'm saying.
As opposed to, like, after I'm finished install.sh, it copies it to user local bin, and I run
Right.
rx.py from any folder. So it did find the RTL-SDR dongle, no problem, using device 0. And then it was not able to open it by installing a udev rules file.
I'm with Dan. rx.py yada yada yada. I'm glad I'm an infrastructure guy and don't do this OS
Because
stuff.
infrastructure is so much easier.
I'm with Tim on this one. Infrastructure is fine. Programmers let you down and make you sad, and I don't want my daughter to marry one. Just saying, I'm not prejudiced. I just don't want her to marry a programmer.
And this is why they're not a plug for him, but this is why Jason's Build-A-Pie is so awesome. One
Yeah.
script does it all.
Yeah, he's really done a lot of great work with that. I don't use it anymore. When I started messing with ham radio, when I got my license, I used it for several months.
I still use it.
I just got no specific use for it anymore, but it's a great install, and he puts a lot of work into it. And if you're going to run ham stuff on a Pi, that is the way to go.
And according to Mateo in the chat, you are going to have to reboot that. The RTL-SDR drivers will not load without a reboot.
Okay. We will cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's look at the README file.
Oh, well, this is going sideways fast if
I
he's
know,
looking at
I know.
instructions.
So we did this. Run the install, then it says configure. So change into that crazy repeater directory like we did. And then all the configuration takes place in that folder. And then in that folder, look at the README configuration file.
See, I didn't have to do any of that when I did this 2.5 years ago.
Hopefully it's advanced in 2.5 years.
I hope so. But the fact that you're that far into the folder structure is worrisome, because that's how far I was.
Our friend Baltimore Mike is here. How you doing, Mike?
Bomber Mike!
We like Bomber Mike. He was our bud at Dayton, and we will see you at Dayton next year too, sir.
All right, so it says the following steps need to be taken by users wishing to configure OP25 to monitor a P25 trunk system. I guess that's what the P25 and OP25 means.
Yes.
More complex setups are supported, but this is the base starting point. And I don't have a P25 radio, so I can't fake it tonight.
Do you even know the control channel frequency? Because Mike asked you that already.
I do not know.
We can find that out. Where are you at?
Livingston, Texas.
What
All
county
right.
was it? Polk County?
Polk
Yeah.
County.
Already bringing it up.
It didn't. I looked at it last week, but I was trying to do a couple other things at the same time. There's a Texas statewide thing, but I don't know if that Polk County stuff is P25, because Radio Reference kind of wasn't really telling me it was P25 for Polk County.
The only P25 in Polk County is the Entergy, which I guess is the energy people.
Electric company, yeah.
Power company, yeah.
So it would have to be the state system to get P25, which I'm sure is possible.
Oh, dear Lord. Where's Livingston at? A
Northeast.
bunch of counties in Texas.
OS. MOS.
Tim, where are you?
DR.
You're in Indiana, right? Where are you
I
at?
am in Indiana, yes.
Where are you at in Indiana?
In between Indianapolis and Bloomington. So
Okay.
Central,
Central Indiana.
kind of south. Southern end is central.
I used to have relatives that lived in Vincennes
Man, that is a ton.
back in the
Yeah.
day.
A little ways from us, but not too super far.
That is a ton of command line arguments.
And Mike has put in some command line arguments for you, Steve.
Mike has put in even more command line arguments. Let's see.
You want me to paste that to the chat?
Don says,
Yeah,
run it in
okay.
Docker, man.
Let me
Yes,
let me copy that.
Mateo, I get the reboot first thing. I'm just having fun.
And Don, if we could just put this into a compiler and make it easy, life wouldn't be fun, now would it?
StreamYard doesn't allow us to copy and paste.
It's in the private chat, Steve.
Which is a bug. So let me grab that. I've got it. And let's go back to the Raspberry Pi window.
So Smart Jason has put out another thing called 73 Linux.
Yes.
I did not know about that.
He has moved on from
The Pi.
The Pi.
Yeah, that's right, because he was using the B-Link or something. I forgot which one.
He moved from the Raspberry Pi over to the Evolve 3.
That's
which
right.
required everything to be rewritten for x86, and then he moved to the Wowie computer.
That's
which
it, the Wowie.
Is kind of cheaper.
And it's probably better than the Evolve, because the
Is that
Evolve's
the-
other name is the Crap Top.
Yeah.
Is
The
that another
Jacobonomus.
12 volt?
Yeah.
It's a
Computer.
12-volt PC, but there's no keyboard, mouse, and screen like there is with the Evolve, and that's the genius of the Evolve. It's low talent, low cost, but it's everything built in.
The Evolve is that Jankopotamus that we've talked about on and off. And then the
Yeah.
Wowie is like one of those micro ATX form factor things like a Nuke or a B-Link or a Minis Forum.
Mhm.
And they're fairly cheap. If I remember right, that thing was like $150 with decent enough specs that you could absolutely run this kind of stuff on it all day. Mike said the command he pasted should run it without editing the TTY file.
The TTY file. Yes, I didn't edit the TTY file. All I did was I put it into the OP25.sh file for comparison to the original line that was already there, and it's pretty close.
Okay.
So RTL gains, he's doing more gain on the LNA. He's setting a frequency. He's changing the display speed, a bunch of other stuff, it looks like.
Mike has apparently been using this for a while because he's...
And you'll want to change the frequency when we get there. I have two possible frequencies to track.
And for Mateo, you watching Mateo?
You know,
Oh,
I'm looking
Dell.
at this map of Texas and all the counties trying to find. Did you say it was Polk County?
Yeah, it's lower right, just outside of Houston.
I have never seen county names with like full names, like Tom Green. Tom Green has a county named after him, and I find that odd. I mean, usually you have like last names. You
Maybe
know,
he
but
fought at the Alamo or something.
he must have. There's like 4 or 5 counties that have like full names. Bob Jones County.
Is there a Sam Houston County?
Bet you $1 there is.
Because he's the guy that apparently made Huntsville, I think.
I do not see that, but I saw one that really caught my attention. And Jim Hogg. Jim Hogg has a county named after him.
Nice.
So does Jim
Houston.
Wells, Jeff
Houston
Daverson.
Okay.
County is named for Sam Houston.
Mateo is correct. Okay, so what's the frequency,
Kenneth?
Franketh?
774.90625.
774.90625. I have switched. I see nothing. But that doesn't... It could be because they're just not talking.
Well, now here's the
Now-
other part to this
Uh-oh.
is we have to set up the web server interface.
Okay.
And that is where I do not remember how that was done.
What was that frequency again, Franketh? 774 dot?
90625.
Okay. It's a good thing that the instructions said somewhere in it to reboot.
N8YO, that is the same way it is down here in Alabama. The P25 systems are all up in the 850s and 860s. And anything that's on VHF or UHF is analog FM. Not much is not. There's probably some business band stuff on NXDN, I think, but
I got plots.
So you're seeing signal. Just for giggles, open Chrome and go to localhost port 8080.
I checked that out, and there is nothing currently running on any odd ports that I don't understand. I've got 5900, which is VNC. I've got 22, which is SSH. I've got 631, which I think is CUPS. And then 4369, which I don't know.
Mike said edit the command with the frequency and put the frequency in the command line on that in that app, that Python file.
So, looking at radio reference, it looks like the sheriff's dispatch is P25, but it's got a 154.7 something address.
That should be fine.
You mean frequency?
Yeah. I'm sorry, address. Yeah.
Okay.
All sounds like IP addresses to me. There's looks like a tribal police dispatch is on 155.5425. It's P25. There's a couple towns. It looks like Livingston. The school district can get the bus barn. That's P25. Nice.
Marvin Dreesen has dropped a $10 super chat.
Marvin! Thank you, Marvin.
Marvin, thank you. We met Marvin. He's a pretty cool guy.
Thank you, Marvin.
So does Texas not have like a statewide network that they interlink with?
They do, but not everyone has moved to it yet.
You know, Steve, in retrospect, I probably should have done this on my side because I know all the P25 stuff. We could have validated this.
There's still time. And it doesn't have to be P25. It can be anything else.
Well, I don't have a Pi in here. They're all out in the shop.
So it is putting up plots. I just can't remember what the key was to get the plot that I wanted. There's the symbol plot.
Okay, if you append... Oh, I'm just going to have to drop this into the chat.
That's a nice plot.
That might not go through. If you append, I think it's a -L, lowercase l, and then HTTP and 0.0.0. 4 zeros and port 8080. That's into the configuration, and then open Chromium. That should bring up the web server.
I'm getting what looks like a carrier signal.
That looks like it.
Yeah.
And it's not going away, so I'm betting you $1 here on a control channel. Mike is telling you to run the command from inside the repeater folder.
Yes, I am in the repeater folder.
Okay. Or
directory. I'm in the apps folder inside the repeater folder.
That 774 frequency I gave is a control channel.
Yep. All right, cool. So you wanted me to add what to the command line to make it into a web server?
Jim, did it show up in the chat or did it get blocked because it has HTTP on it?
Take off the HTTP. And just paste it in the private chat, Frank.
Yeah, you can paste whatever you want in the private chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
two different. All right, there we go. It should be -L, lowercase l, and I don't remember where it goes in the argument, so I'd say towards the end would be fine. -L HTTP colon 0.0.0.0 port 8080.
Okay, so that seems sketch. I guess that'll work.
I don't know if it needs
It
the.
should be 127.001.
Both will
Oh,
work
that
just fine.
Will it
yeah.
work? I wasn't sure about that.
That's how it's. That's how I was given it years ago.
Years ago. All right, well, there's a help file. Let's see what it says for -L.
The help file says go to YouTube.
Right.
It says lowercase l is terminal type.
That might be
HTTP
lowercase.
:host :port. I see it. It's a weird format.
Yeah.
It's running.
So here
Fingers crossed.
in Montgomery County, we have a multi-county / state system we call SCMODs. I'm kidding about that part. And it's the Montgomery Metro Cooperative Communications District or something like that. And so it's a P25 Phase 2 trunk system in the 850 range.
Ooh.
Ah,
And
there you go.
it's got state police and Montgomery City PD, Auburn City PD, Prattville City PD, county fire, sheriff's office for several counties. And it's a mix and match of crypto. Montgomery City Fire is 100% encrypted again.
So the go-to is just whatever talk group ID we know is nearby to you. Considering you're in Polk and it's an analog system, you're picking up a tower over in Liberty County right now. So anything that comes across on Liberty County on this frequency, you'll hear.
Adam Dennis up in this house.
Okay, there's the fast Fourier transform. There's the constellation.
Now, what is that constellation supposed to be showing you exactly?
So it is the QAM, or well, not even the QAM specifically. It's the modulation of the data burst as it goes through the signal. And instead of doing like a specific, I don't know what the right way to explain this is, but if you saw it, it's a couple of. The reason why it looks the way it does is because it's not actually. There isn't actually any constellation data here, but what you would see if there was is you would see very specific clusters of noise on the screen. And each one of those clusters of noise would represent a symbol of data. I don't want to say a bit of data because it's not a bit, because we don't talk about bits on radio. We talk about symbols and symbol rates and things like that. But it's you remember Mark in space? It's kind of similar to that.
Okay.
It's a frequency and an offset within the frequency that you're talking about, where you'd expect to hear a certain tone, and if you hear that tone, then it means this thing, and then you can decode that bit of data. There was some talk with Darklight in the Toads chat where he's building one of these things, and he had a couple of scatter plots, is what I call them.
Christopher,
yep.
So if I scan that with my iPhone, is it going to take me to like Pornhub or something?
We don't mention that site on this channel.
Oh,
Bear
sorry.
Pornhub.
I'm sorry. What?
Bear Pornhub.
Oh, Bear Porn.
That's so much better.
You can't you just can't trust these internet places anymore.
Right.
So I can't change the frequency in the web interface. It doesn't look
Can
like.
you possibly make that web page bigger? Make the window bigger and then big in the web page?
Big, like full screen.
So I do that, but then you can't see all the data.
Tim could do this on a Mac fairly easily.
I'd be
on Windows.
I'd be looking for the backspace key.
He's not bitter about the backspace key like he is about the foot pedal.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's working.
So
However,
can
I
you?
can't change frequencies.
Okay, so that's not clickable in any way to change.
No.
No, you have to do that all through the scripting.
Oh my
So I have to
God!
close the server down and restart the server to do it.
And you all
However, there
thought
is a
DSD
fancy
was
text
hard.
interface for all this. This is just a pretty web interface on top of the text interface.
Yeah.
And the text interface
Jim,
was fine.
Jim, I will tell you right now, I was watching Team Replay last week, and as I told TO, I was screaming at my phone, no, 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 do it this way, do it this. I wasn't even there, and I was on Team Replay.
Well, last week I couldn't see his screen, and I'm trying to keep up with the chat, and he's trying to type, and this is always an exciting thing. And you guys in the chat, when you're on this side of the camera doing this, it's really hard to keep up with the helpful things y'all are saying and filter out the unhelpful things y'all are saying.
That's not a very nice thing to say to people.
I'm just saying it's hard to filter it out.
Hey, TO,
that's all.
try a frequency when you're ready.
I don't mean I don't love them.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
hard to filter out.
Yeah.
154.785.
I did do what you said. I did
Oh,
reboot.
Mateo
It
getting
worked.
saucy.
It worked just fine.
Hmm.
That's how we got to this part.
So can
He
this
must
scan
have
through a
went away.
series of control channels?
What's the frequency you wanted, Franketh?
154.785.
Tim, that's a great question because I was getting to that. And the Montgomery P25 system lists every freaking frequency as a control channel. And it does move.
Yep.
Now,
That's still another control.
That's interesting.
That is your Polk County Sheriff P25 channel.
But they're not talking.
But when
So
they do talk, you should see something.
On our system here, I scan the control channels of just about every county. Every county here at least has probably 2 different sites set up in different areas of the county. So I scan several control channels, and then whichever talk groups are active on that tower,
Right.
I'll hear.
It's not that you guys are unhelpful. It's that it's hard to filter out everything and keep up with what's going on and try and help him. And it's very busy. That's all.
Remember, guys, Jim's old, and
That's right.
And he's an olden folk. Olden folk, as my son likes to call me, and isn't quite up on the YouTubes yet.
But
772-91875.
my beard is, mostly dark still.
Hey, dude,
There.
just because you use Just for Men, don't be playing that game with me.
Listen, Swabby.
I know how this vanity thing rolls here.
See, I don't have to worry about that at all.
Right. Yeah.
Just
so
as I switched, I did get some text on the screen there.
well, you should be able to get the data stream. Yeah, from the site.
So that's showing the data stream from the site of what's going on with the control channel.
Yep.
So is that a carrier signal or just noise?
That's carrier signal, because
Yeah,
control channels are constant carriers.
But it's like it's not
How are they constant carriers?
doing what the control channel says.
You know that P25 data stream that keeps going out all the time?
Well, because when you key up a handheld, it's supposed to key on the control channel, and the control channel tells it go to one of your whatever channels that are available to you.
Right, so this is the other side. This is the control channel responding back. So the control channel is always there making noise, is I guess what he's saying.
Yes.
Well, how does it receive if it's always transmitting, or does it receive on a second on a duplexed frequency?
Multiplexing?
It's so using that frequency, it's talking on that frequency while listening on the frequency at the same time for any requests. So it's outbound pause, inbound pause, outbound pause, inbound pause to get the data stream going.
So what you're saying is we just can't see that shut down because it's so quick.
Right.
Did you
It's
see
like-
this comment from Mike, Steve,
Which one?
on the screen? Edit the trunk TSV file with the frequency and the NAC of what you want.
Okay, that makes sense, but I don't know the frequency and the NAC. Like I know I know the words he's using, but I don't know what
They're
the
on
actual
radio
frequency
reference,
is.
and Tim or
Yeah,
Frank
what do you
one
mean?
has it pulled up.
Yeah.
And Mike N8YO agrees with Frank. The control channel is always transmitting.
All right, P25 system 773.
But I'm just here for comic relief. I couldn't be technical about any of this stuff.
Okay, Frank, what's the control channel?
I'm looking up what Mike. I'm going back in chat because Mike mentioned a place. Okay.
It'll be under radio reference for that system. So Tim, here in Montgomery, on the system I listen to, they have, it's a simulcast system, simulcast, however you say that. And they have like about 7 sites, I think. And each site has a different set of frequencies, obviously. Some have more, some have less. But according to radio reference, every frequency for every site for the system I use is set to says it's a control channel. And it's obviously not. But so I don't understand, because I've seen other systems that have only 1 or 2 things listed as control channels.
Yeah.
So if you lose the control channel on our system, like on DSDPlus, if I'm using it at work, I got to keep changing channels to try and find the control channel. And then once it finds it, once I type in the right frequency, lock and load, and it goes. But I don't understand how that works and why it changes like that. Now my scanner,
I think they do that on purpose just to keep people from listening.
well, yeah, but with DSDPlus, right? But like with my unication scanner, the G4, or with this SDS 200, I just turn it on and it finds it and rocks and rolls. And it's using the same data. So there's something more in there that I don't understand.
Now, Jim, with DSDPlus, you can set it to scan. You can scan the system, or you can scan a specific tower, no problem.
Yeah, I know. I just don't understand multiple control channels and how my scanner is smart enough to decide which one is the active control channel.
Well, I think it's just scanning, and when it sees data, it responds.
Well, yeah,
exactly. That's
I'm
exactly
overthinking
it.
that. Yeah, you're right. I'm overthinking that.
Yeah, I'm just looking here in Indiana. So when I said every county has a couple sites, they're generally based around population areas, so towns. We have a few large cities here, but most of them are towns. So they'll, wherever there's a population of fire and police and everything, and the county sheriff, they'll typically have a site. But it's like the county I live in, we have 2 larger towns, so there's towers in each kind of corner of the county. But I'm just looking here at radio reference. Most of our sites have 2 control channels. Some have 3, but they don't have like any more frequencies. So I don't know. If it's a control channel, I mean, is it going to be used for regular traffic? Because generally the radio connects to the control channel, then it tells the radio where to go to communicate with the system, which other frequency to use. So I don't know. I mean, when they're 2, I mean, is there a primary and a secondary? And is the secondary channel, can it act like a regular, communications channel? Or, and then we got some, I did see one that had like 4 of them, but they've only got 5 frequencies assigned to that tower. So, or site.
So this is the system I was talking about here.
Yeah.
And Steve, for your reference, this is where the system ID and the NAC and the whacking and all that is in whatever system you're looking at. But so here's all the sites that are part of the
knob
MMCCD. I don't know what SAL means. I haven't figured that acronym out yet. But anyway, you can see that all these things are marked as potential control channels. So this is the site with the most frequencies in it. And then I can get it, and I can get that one, and the rest of these are in other towns or counties, so I don't even try to get them for anything. But
site on wheels, that makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay.
So,
okay. But you can see they're all marked as control channels. And I think right now, the last time I tuned in, it was 854, 5375. But
Mike,
it
how did I
changes.
do that?
So I don't really understand that.
And Steve, as far as the NAT goes, it's 1 Atom 7.
Look at you.
1A7.
One
Okay.
Atom 7. 1 Atom 7. See the man.
See Jim, I get in trouble when I use my call sign on air. I don't use Kilo Golf 6. I go King George 6, Nora Lincoln William.
Using the old
You-
ones.
You railroad people. Don't let Callum hear you. Don't let Callum hear you. I think you're talking about a town or a country.
Well, no, people get a good laugh out of my call sign if they, once they get it. I give them to it this way: King George 6 never left Washington. Think about that for a second.
That could get Callum stirred up. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with people using non-standard phraseology is that they're using non-standard phraseology. If you're trying to copy somebody, especially on phone, right? Only on phone, actually. The problem is I'm expecting, your call sign, what is it, KG6NLW. I'm expecting to hear stuff like Kilo Golf, Lima November Whiskey. And when you say, and Ape has done this when he was operating on Toads, Kazakhstan, Tanzania, Zanzibar, whatever, and you're not used to hearing that. So like when I got my pilot's license, one thing they beat into your head is you use standard phraseology. If I want clearance into a Class B airspace, I'm going to say I request clearance, and I'm going to wait to hear them say that they give clearance, that they grant clearance. We don't change it up, and nobody in aircraft language uses Zanzibar, Lima George, limestone, Waterbega, whatever.
And Jim,
and so I wish everybody would use the NATO code and quit with the kilowatt sugar crap. I'm kind of a geezer about that.
You might want to highlight Ginger Shane's comment. He tagged you in it. That is a very good point.
Oh, I didn't know he had snuck in here.
Oh, he's been in here.
Shane, I gave you the link. On
because
Discord.
all the voice channels on those cells have the capabilities. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't Shane kind of work with these things? Like maybe a subject matter expert?
He was supposed to be on the show, but he forgot how to Discord.
Shane.
So no need to have a subject matter expert on the show.
No, that's not. You're on the wrong kind of show for that. This is
absolutely.
I mean, we don't expert here.
Oh, no.
On purpose. So it's not respecting the trunks file. It's only taking the frequency that I put in here. And this was something that Mike had shared with me, was to add this E6 at the end. I don't know what the E6 does because that's not a frequency to me. And then I don't know where to put the NAC.
That is your zeros. That's scientific notation.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that may be, is it reading that correctly?
Yeah, it works when I do that. So let's go back to the beginning and let's do this.
Did you hear how fast Slide Rule Jim jumped in there with the scientific notation?
Slide Rule Jim. Love it.
Slide Rule Jim.
I actually have no idea how to use a slide rule. Never touched one in my entire life.
Jim, I don't know if you saw, but behind me there, I've got you some computer equipment.
Let's embiggen you so we can see.
Oddly enough, that's a
UNIVAC 1500 series of some sort.
That's 1219. That is 19? This is actually what I started on in 1990ish when I left tech school and went out to the fleet in the Navy.
When I was in tech school in '82 for the Air Force, they were teaching us on Honeywell 6000s and telling us that we were never going to use punch cards. They were outdated. And then they promptly taught us about punch cards. And I suffered through punch cards most of the 8 years I was in the Air Force until the very late '80s.
You guys were just getting what, swivel chairs in the
Yeah,
Air Force
right.
about that
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I got that reference.
My first duty station was Luke, and we had a Burroughs 3700, and then that got upgraded to a 4700, and then I went overseas, and that was on some Univac or some Sperry crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot the system number, and then I came back here and was on all Unisys 1100 series stuff.
Our programs, well, so all before computers were what we know of computers today. Everything was binary coded octal. And those lights that are behind me on the
Yep.
thing of registers are just
Yep.
77777, and so I learned how to program in Sperry machine language for what little we had to learn how to program to basically learn our way and understand how the system worked. I mean, that was about the extent of it. So not I didn't do anything other than write simple programs that would ask questions on the teletype, and you would input information, and then it would respond back with what you inputted. I mean, it wasn't anything major, but all of our tactical data or programs were installed on mag tape, but we did have paper tape readers on the teletype unit as a backup in case our mag tape was out of service. We could load our tactical program, and from even in the time in the 90s, those were actually installed. So they're 60s vintage computers. They were installed on my specific ship in 1971, and I had the tech rep there one day with us who actually installed the computers there in 1971. And I just looked at him. I said, "Roy, you realize I was born in 1971?" And he's just kind of like, but yeah. So they were antiquated by 1990s technology, and in my pocket calculator had more
Oh yeah.
processing power. But I tell you what, that computer system could put surface to air missiles on airplanes at 200 miles away from the ship without any problems.
Oh yeah.
Every day, all day long.
And
We had,
Ron is correct, Steve. That comment that was just highlighted, he is correct
Yeah.
about that.
Okay.
I was
can't
wondering
see it.
about that because there's some apps that do not like tabs or do not like spaces instead of tabs. That's kind of a Linux thing, Unix thing in general.
So you're talking about the format of the file I've got on my screen?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah, and-
didn't insert these tabs or spaces. This is the file as it came from them. And,
You
and
have
what
to-
it's
You have to edit it in what's the app? The Excel version of Linux.
Joe. He
yeah,
said,
that's-
okay.
what it's complaining about is the format of the number itself. So if I look at the error file that comes out, at the very bottom it's telling me that the frequency is wrong, and I'm trying to figure out the format for the frequency right now because there's not a good reference for this. So if I go back here and I put a leading 0, it didn't like that. If I take that leading 0 out, it'll run, but it'll be on the wrong frequency because I don't have the right spacing. So if you look when it pops up, it's going to be at 77.4
Yeah.
instead
Right.
of 774.
This is going to make your Ken Lewis. It's time for VI because you can turn on set list and see all the hidden characters.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, I'm surprised you're not using VI.
I use VI. I don't know if Steve does.
It's not a hidden character problem, is what I just explained to you.
Okay.
Put the decimal point back in. There's the other file too.
There we go. I got it. All fixed.
Okay.
And now I'm getting
See,
that
all you
on
need to
screen.
do is talk about VI, and that straightened it up.
That got him right with the Lord,
Right.
didn't it, Tim? Right there.
Absolutely.
That was like the second coming. That was an epiphany.
Well, so the big takeaway here is always read your error messages. They tell you exactly what the problem is. They don't tell you how to fix it, but they tell you what the problem is. And an integer, as we all know, doesn't have decimal points.
Right.
Because that would be a floating point number.
And apparently, Ginger Shane doesn't see the link in his Discord.
Let me me go back to Discord. And
I got it, Steve. I'll
Ping him
send
again.
you a link. You handle this.
Dude, come on, man. This is like what is this, like 2023? This I didn't get the email crap. Doesn't fly with me.
Right,
You know,
right.
I didn't get you. I'm sorry, I didn't get your email. Jeez.
I have KI6QFI-Moto Man is who I sent it to.
Ginger Shane is in my list somewhere.
I'm with Hamstick Eric. Eric, Team Nano. I hate VI.
Oh yeah.
I learned VI on a Unix machine in '86 when I started using Unix machines.
Show constellation. Okay.
It's like WordStar. I can still do WordStar commands blindfolded upside down underwater because that was the first editor I used on a PC-based system.
I got it right.
You're a Lotus
Try.
123 guy, aren't you?
Dude, slash this and slash that. That's exactly right.
That's why I use Joe, because it respects the WordStar commands.
Yeah, it does. Redheaded Ginger Shane, there's the link, boy. It's in your StreamYard. I mean, your Discord. Your StreamYard's in the Discord.
So what is Shane's name on Discord?
KI6QFI Moto Man. Queefy
Yep.
Moto Man.
Yep.
Creepy.
That's who I sent it to.
All right, I don't believe it. Let's see this. Let's see it. Put up on the screen.
Stop screen, present, share screen, window. Hang on.
We had, we ran card decks constantly at my first duty station. Constantly. And as a matter of fact, when I was at Lodges too, I worked for Mac then.
See it?
Yep,
Man.
that's him.
See
Look at
how he's
that.
got that little half moon, meaning he's asleep at the wheel? That's
Yep.
him. This is a Shane error.
They
Oh,
would
did
send
it?
over
It's on my
card
own
decks
phone.
for personnel stuff and for pay stuff and everything. Man, oh man. And the aircraft maintenance system mimics the one they used to use when I was in the Air Force. They started with boxes and boxes and boxes of cards to run on TCTO changeouts for aircraft and all that kind of stuff.
I can't remember the name of the system, but we had some kind of a terminal-based mainframe, something or another that our DSs, the data systems guys, would manage to do our parts. Like, you know, I need to order some cards or whatever for my for all the material management on the ship. It was, I can't even remember the name. It was horrible and difficult to learn.
The upside to having all those card decks is, as an operator, which is what I was then, you got to know what they were for, right? So when we ran the AVK SHT list, VK was the military personnel system in the Air Force. Might still be, I don't know. And then it printed out a list of everybody who had to show up at the clinic to get a shot for this or for that. You were like, oh, that's what that card deck is. So then you'd start, I don't need that. I don't want that. I don't feel like going to that.
I
might have
I
used
might
my
be letting the
powers for
cat out of the
evil.
bag, but we would just have a line outside a sick call after we pulled out of a foreign port of people that needed to get a shot. we didn't need a special list for that. They did just
This
they
wasn't
would go
those
down
kind of
the hall.
shots, Tim.
They
This
would
is
down
not
the-
Ham Radio Clubhouse. This is not those kind of shots.
They would go down the passageway into the galley. So you'd be on the mess decks, right? And there's a line of guys standing there.
Apparently, I'm going to call him out. Apparently, N8YO and Ham Radio Tube Mike want to go play a game of chess. So I guess we're boring them.
Right, right. So this is only, I mean, the name is OP25, so maybe the O stands for only P25. This only does P25, is that right?
I haven't messed with anything other than P25 on it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of other ways to listen to non-P25 systems than this.
Like DSDPlus.
Hell,
Which
that's
we
what
did
I
get
got.
working.
I got DSDPlus for P25. It works great.
It was just another, 800-year-old program.
The interface on it sucks. It absolutely does. OMG.
Oh, wow.
Here I am. You're welcome.
About time.
Just an hour and 15 minutes late.
I'm sorry I didn't see the link. I don't know what happened.
Mhm.
It's on your other phone, right?
Yeah, my
Yeah,
work
So,
phone. Yeah,
Did you
exactly.
finally find my link, or did you use Jim's link that was sent to
I
the
used
exact same
Jim's. I'm not sure
application?
where you sent, where you, I
We
don't
brought it
have
up on
you.
the we brought it up on the screen.
We showed where he sent it to you.
Yeah.
Everybody confirmed.
Well, anyways, I'm here now. Hello.
Listen to that deflection there.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Not my
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
So, we have got it up and running without your help. Thank you very much. And I was just getting ready to go over how it works as a quick recap. Let's do this and this and this. And so the first thing we had to do was clone the repository. So git clone github.com/boatbod. So he must be, one of us, little thick in the middle. op25.git. Let me get back over to that screen, which then creates a folder on your machine called op25. And in there is an install.sh. So I ran /install.sh, which does all of the dependencies. And then, as Matteo suggested, we rebooted the machine, which was able to load the drivers appropriately. And then, for some weird reason, inside of the OP25 folder, you go into the OP25 folder again. And inside of that, you go into the GR OP25 repeater folder. And inside of that, you go into the apps folder. And inside of that, there is a trunk.tsv file, which is TSV is tab separated values. So you can just put a list of these systems in place. And this was the frequency that we got off of radioreference.com, 774.73125,
Right.
with a NAC of 772.918750. And then you run ./op25.sh from that folder, and it pops up. And when it pops up, you can see NAC commands on the screen. And if you push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the keyboard, you get these fancy graphs, which show that
I
there's
was
some
seeing
activity.
those.
So it works, but there's not a lot of P25 traffic around here because this is a very safe neighborhood and nothing interesting or exciting ever happens here.
See if you can look up the state system, because there's a Texas DPS state system, and you should be able to get that unless it's encrypted, which God knows it may be.
Can I share my screen real quick?
Yeah,
I wanted
there's
to
a
show you guys something.
Present at the bottom.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Now, while Shane's pulling that up, I will say this. Not only is there BoatBod, but there is OsmoCom, which is another fork of OP25. BoatBod works a little better than OsmoCom.
Oh my God.
So Mike is saying this is not working. And Ronald is saying that the numbers that I was given were incorrect.
Yeah, NAC's only a 3-digit number. He's right. That's correct.
Okay. How do I know I'm
Mike,
sharing?
you'll need to send it to me on Discord.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah,
so
guys,
you
cutting and pasting stuff out of the chat into Discord. If I miss it in the YouTube chat, it scrolled so fast I can't find it, and I can't copy paste out of the Discord chat. We
So
can
can
see
you-
your Discord chat, but we can't copy out of it.
StreamYard chat, you mean?
So
StreamYard
this
chat,
is,
yeah.
This is Unitrunker. This is the countywide system, and this is the system that we run and operate. I'm sure you guys have talked about this or seen this before, but
Ronald, I got that from Frank.
You can see all the affiliations, the logins and logouts of all the IUIDs, and the channels they're affiliating to. And then if you go, whoops, where's the bottom? Where's the bottom? There's the bottom.
Mateo, send me a link on Discord. At the Toads Discord linked at the top, you can just @TO and you'll find me. And then if you have some better information, I'm happy to hear it.
There's the band plan right there. And then you have peers, which is like your neighboring sites. And then your info, So it'll tell you what kind of modulation it's running, what kind of system it is, the system ID, the Waken, the site number, and the site NAC. That's what I was looking for.
You got the encryption key?
He might.
Easy now.
He might.
And how do I hook my Bofang up to that?
Can I scan with my...
Oh, there we wait. That's anyway. Yeah, that's my Unitrunker running off of my RTL-SDR right now.
I played with Unitrunker in the past week, and I also played with SDR Trunk, and I think both of them suck.
Dude, it's got a DOS window.
Right?
But you can assign, like right here, see this alias right here? You can assign an alias to these, and then you can also color code it. So like the green channels are green, the fire channels are red.
Yeah. It looks like I still have configuration problems, and I'm trying to do this at work and not get busted by the man for screwing off with radio stuff during the day. And
I thought you were.
Don't do that. And then this will tell you right here if it's encrypted or not. If it's got a P4, if it is encrypted. If it has just a 4, then it's not.
Right.
But yeah, it's a neat little program.
Well, I've seen video of it running. I have been unsuccessful so far. I want to try it.
Oh, see, here's Santa Ana PD calling for a helicopter. So they come up on air calls, our countywide air call channel. So that's a Santa Ana PD console, and they're calling for a helicopter, which tells me they got something going on.
Apparently, there's a lot of SDR Trunk fans in the chat because I'm seeing a lot of feedback from my. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing, and it may work great. I don't have it configured all the way. I admit that. But I will tell you, the interface on all these things is like 1986.
I will say this, DSDPlus, yes, it looks a little clunky, but once you get all the files running right, it's wonderful. Honestly, I use it over Unitrunker because I can listen to audio on DSDPlus. Unitrunker, you need 2 dongles to listen to audio while scanning control channels.
This is true.
On Unitrunker?
Yeah.
Do you use Fastlane, Frank?
I do.
How the heck do you get that running? I can't figure that out.
Shane, you and I can talk offline.
That would be great.
That sounds like a whole other Nuggets episode there.
We're going to have a Discord call so we can get that godforsaken SDR Trunker thingy running for me.
Okay.
And I got a functional DSDPlus here that works just fine and scans P25 all day with 1 dongle.
Yeah, same here.
2 is better, but 1 works fine.
I have 3 different dongles scanning 3 different systems all the time.
Yeah.
I just have 1 because that's about all my PC can handle.
What I did, and I did a video on this, I have a drop amplifier. So I ran the scanner antenna to the input of the drop amp and then ran 2 dongles out of the drop amp, 1 to each dongle. So I have 1 dongle that was dedicated to the control channel and 1 was dedicated to whatever talk groups I had listening. Now, we don't have the busiest system in the world here, busier than what Steve's got, but I'm also only listening to a couple specific talk groups, Sheriff's Dispatch and the local fire department. So
yeah.
So you can get away with 1 dongle
easily. If you're in a target-rich environment like Shane is, I don't know how well that would work.
San Francisco Bay Area, up where my house is, 3 dongle minimum if you want to listen to everything.
Okay, yeah, you're California too. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Opposite end. I'm the better half of California.
You're up by Oakland. You're in Oakland.
No, I'm an hour north of Oakland.
Oh, he's in Compton. I forgot. I don't know.
Yeah, he's the other C.
I was in Compton.
Shane.
No. I'm in the OC. Not like the Real Housewives of OC, but I'm in the OC.
Calling for an airship.
All Orange County. Yeah. Am I still sharing or no?
No.
Okay.
It's not on our screen, but you can share again if you'd like.
No, I just thought I'd...
I mean, we all watched you log into your bank. And
right.
Got your username, password for the banking information.
So
Mike,
Mike
credit card
and
information, and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maryland Mike and Michigan Mike and also Jim all sent me the same command line, which I've got up and running, and it looks the same.
I copied it from Michigan Mike,
Yeah.
who copied it from Balmer Mike.
Yep. So we do have it working. There's just not a lot of traffic here.
Pretty much.
Huntsville is a great city for P25. Huntsville, Alabama is fantastic.
What do we got to do, Steve, to get some traffic generated on their
I
system.
don't have a P25 radio, but that's how we did it last week, was the proof of concept. I set it to a
You don't have my
DMR
read?
frequency and keyed up with a DMR radio, and it did the DMR magic. So
No, I'm thinking we just like call in to dispatch, have a welfare check done.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, we were on a live stream with this guy that he's at the trailer park down there in Livingston, and I don't know. He kind of clutched his chest, and then he went off camera. Come get a welfare check.
Yeah.
Mateo, send it to TO directly at TO dot.
Which trailer park though, Tim?
I'm not
I don't know how many you got in Livingston.
about 1 million.
Oh,
That's my point.
Because it's a what do they call it? Snowbird state. People come down here to get away from the winter.
It didn't work out so well a couple of years ago. I'm just saying.
All right, Mateo, I see it. Let me see if I can do that. You've given me 2 frequencies, and I was told that one is a frequency and the second one should only be a 3-digit hex number for the NAC. So what is the second frequency number? And he's saying those are Entergy frequencies, so let's try that anyway.
And Joe Brett apparently uses SDR trunk as well.
Does he really? Wow.
Yeah, so I've got to get it working.
Oh, okay, so it'll work either way. Let's do that.
Does this
Set
program
trunk
show
frequency.
traffic on the system, or does it just show you the control channel and what it's doing?
This side is, if I remember right, because Shane, I haven't worked with this in 2.5 years now. This side only works with the control channel and what it's doing.
Okay, so it doesn't show like traffic like Unitrunker does?
Steve would have to boot up the localhost port 8080 side of things to show that.
So I still have the NAC wrong. I'm going to put 0 in the NAC part.
Well, it's on radio reference. I thought Tim gave you the NAC.
I did
No
for
one-
the county,
Or
for
Frank, one of them.
I did for the state system. The local system NAC, the sheriff is 064.
This is for Entergy.
Oh, I didn't even open that.
All right, well, hang on. Let me pull up the NAC.
I just set it to 0 for now. It has
don't-
changed the frequency to the one that Mateo gave me, 8563875, and it is scanning back and forth, and we are seeing decodes on the screen.
Oh, sweet Christmas. There we go.
So let's go to Constellation.
And y'all, Kyle
There
is
we
live.
go. There we go. Mateo, you got it, brother.
Oh, he said you can 0 the NAC. Okay.
That's what I was talking about with the Constellation.
hurry
See
up.
how it's
Everybody scan that with your iPhone.
very well-defined sections of the frequency. Four dots instead of scatters all over the place.
Mateo coming in clutch in the last 30 seconds, right?
I think he's been trying. It's just...
Hey, Frank,
Yeah.
I wanted to show you something.
Oh, you're blocked by the chat.
Yeah, I know. I see that. There we
Okay.
go. Ah, I'm blocked again. Check that
Oh,
thing out.
okay. Not
Nice.
bad. Not bad at all.
If you look closely on the top,
I see
It
the
has-
antennas.
it's got the little antennas on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Marvin, the answer to your question is yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Is that cool or what?
That is.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And yes, Marvin, that is correct. You can.
I'm doing it on a P25 Phase 2 system that's, I mean, not super busy, but it's also not dead. Not like Livingston, Texas dead.
All right, thank you very much, Mateo. So this is what I was talking about with the Constellation looks, but this also looks like it's just straight up control and not any real traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is that actual traffic?
Well, if it was traffic, it'd be moving around. Like it would be bouncing from channel to channel.
Brian, you are correct. We are excited about 4 blobs on the screen. Again, that means that there's not really a lot going on here.
All right,
then-
can we look at the webpage for this now?
Yeah, Dan in San Diego's right. Bring up the webpage again.
So I have to shut this down and configure it for a web page.
So, Jen, to answer your question, is you were asking why all the channels in your Montgomery area are all labeled red with the little C.
Well, I mean, somebody said it's just backups, I guess, but it does change.
Yeah, all of those channels on those sites have the capability of acting as the control channel, so that way you have more choices versus if you just have two and they both fail, your entire cell goes down,
right?
And you're going to fail-soft mode. Versus if you have all of them that have the capability of doing that, then you have a lot more choices and your system can stay online.
Yeah, and what I've noticed is that they, not a lot of people talk about that, which is why I brought it up. I assumed that's what it was for, but I noticed here that the control channel will change. What was 854 might be the control channel today, and tomorrow it's on 856 something. So
yeah, they'll rotate. They'll rotate them. Just to
Steve, what all you got there, buddy? That looks like actual things.
Yeah, so now it's telling me it's a P25 system. I've got adjacent sites, frequencies, and uplinks. Shane, what does all this mean?
Okay, which part? The adjacent sites?
Yeah, let's go over this table in the bottom corner that actually looks like it's got some real useful data.
That tells you the neighboring sites of what's around you and what control channels there are, and it actually has the offset, which I've never seen. That's pretty cool.
Well, it's a standard offset.
Yeah, it's 45? 45?
Yeah,
45.
Yeah.
And then you have your NAC, you have your Waken, and then your system ID. And then, wow, it's got the input and the output of the control channel. And so RFSS NAC, ID.
The Waken, the sys ID, and
See,
this stuff
I call
it all
that
just
a
grabbed. It just grabbed right off of the
wide area
channel.
coverage network.
Okay.
That's what it stands for, Wide Area Coverage Network.
What is NAC? Like network Access Control?
Network Access Code. Yeah. It's like a PL.
Yeah.
Or a color code.
I knew what it was. I just didn't know what the acronym was. The same as a RAN on an NXDN system.
Yeah.
Or the color code on DMR.
Right.
It's not what we call NAC in the IT world.
NAK.
That's NAK.
That's a knick-knack.
No, NAC. Network Access Control. Jim, I thought you were a security guy. Come on now. Come on, Jim. I thought you were a security guy.
Jim just plays one on Thursday nights.
I just play one on Thursday nights. I'm actually an expired CISSP.
So the data plot looks like it's doing something useful now instead of just random lines.
Is that string theory?
Yeah, that's better.
I have to go back and get it again. My boss has decided that I need to have it.
Is that the loom? Anybody know what that reference is from? The loom?
The loom?
Loom.
Loki. There you go.
Oh, of course.
The loom.
Nerd.
Nerd alert.
We recognize. We can identify each other. So that view is kind of useless, really.
Well, this one's showing me that there might be some audio there in addition to just a carrier.
Yeah, it's meh.
How'd that go?
Meh. Yeah, Mateo, that's what I'm talking about. I didn't see any talk groups showing up. I saw all his sites, but there was nothing else really showing up.
It doesn't seem like anybody's talking, is what I'm seeing.
Now, looking at this chart compared to last week in DSDPlus, so in the FMP window last week, you had white lines and green lines, remember?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The white lines are your data or control channel your control channel streams, while the green lines are your
data.
voice. No,
voice.
Voice. So white is data, green is voice.
So this is a simulcast system. Is that what we can determine from looking at the adjacent sites?
Yes.
Okay. No, it's just a ruler for measuring package sizes when I mail crap out. Or chasing my cat off.
Knocking your cat off your desk.
Hamstick Eric thought this was my slide rule.
Slide rule, Jim.
Never have touched one ever in my life, not once.
Brian, we do care about hearing it. We just don't have anything we can hear.
Yeah, Marvin, they're using
Yeah,
CB and GMRS.
yeah.
They're on their fangs, Marvin.
Bangs.
But folks, that's the end, and I think we were actually successful, and we did it as a team. It took 97 of us to make this work.
That's right. Teamwork
think
makes
it
the
worked.
dream work.
I think
Right.
it worked great tonight.
So Dan is saying we have control channels loaded. What about the rest of the frequencies? There should be 5 or 8 other frequencies
Yeah.
for the audio, and those were listed.
No, those were. Did it? It didn't show you the audio
No,
channels. It showed you the adjacent site frequencies. That's not your audio channels.
No, it's not? Okay.
No,
No, sir.
those are different sites throughout the whole system.
Okay.
Neighboring.
Yeah.
So how do we get the audio?
That is for another stream.
Okay.
So you got to do some more jacking around with Pi files to get the audio out of this app.
Yeah.
I think
Buy a damn scanner, son.
Well,
Jesus.
it's about the journey right now, brother.
Jim, as I was saying earlier, screaming into my phone last week when I was watching Team Replay, DSDPlus is so much smoother and easier.
Yeah. I would like if you guys, let us know in the chat. But I mean, I would like to do this with the one Shane's talking about. Joe Brett likes it.
What's that? SDR
SDR
trunk?
trunk.
SDR trunk. Yeah. And we can
Yeah,
do it.
that
I mean,
one
that's
is-
up to Steve. This is his show. I'm just the color commentary.
yeah.
That
but-
one is handy because you only need one dongle with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Only
Well,
one
I mean,
receiver.
I'm on a Windows machine here. I've got
That's right.
dongles. I've got an antenna. I can run SDR trunk here, and we can actually hear stuff. But yep.
Yep.
Oh, he's got the
What is that?
filter.
What is that you've got, Tim? That is that a
That's an up
And it-
converter.
okay?
Yeah. I can up convert.
You fancy?
I know.
Mateo, no speakers on the Pi tonight.
Yeah.
So next week we can start off with this exact same setup and plug speakers into it and still hear nothing because it didn't look like there was anybody talking anyway.
We just have to have Jim do it next week.
Yeah.
We gotta
I'm all
have
for that.
one of you.
Jim
guys
is not going to do OP25. I can guarantee you that.
We gotta have one of you guys affiliate to an active talk group to bring it up on the cell.
I would love to affiliate.
Tim's calling in a friend right now. We're gonna make
Yeah,
sure this
I'm-
happens.
Livingston PD.
Do a welfare check on the
That's right. It heard
subject down.
firecrackers at the
No
trailer
ham
park.
till it hurts. This vein is not normally throbbing.
Well, that's what'll happen is if you have a site that's like relatively quiet and a radio affiliates to it that's on an active talk group, that talk group will come up on that cell.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
So is
I
there
see
no
that all
audio
the time
because
in
nobody's
SDR.
talking? Or is there no audio because I don't have a speaker? Like it from what you saw, was there somebody that was talking?
No, because bring your screen back up.
Yeah. See, I see what
Over-
Shane's talking about. Go ahead, Frank. Never mind.
Over on the left side there where it shows system frequencies, if somebody were talking, it would show an active talk group ID just below that green part. You
Yep.
would see what voice frequency they're on, when it was last used, the talk group ID, and how many times you've heard that talk group.
So Mike is saying edit the I can put a speaker on there, but Mateo's saying I can put a speaker on there, yes, but there were no talk groups showing, so we still wouldn't hear anybody. And Mike is saying I need to edit the group talk group.tsv file. Let's go take a look at
Do you
that
need
file.
to edit the talk groups, or is that just to get the association between the talk group and an alpha label?
Just to get the association between
That's-
an alpha tag and the talk group ID.
See, DSDPlus does all
Yeah.
this automatically.
DSDPlus does not. You have to build your own talk group ID
It
list.
builds it out of the radio reference data that you download.
If you're a
well,
premium subscriber.
yeah.
It's like what, $12 a year?
Jim's
No,
out here
it's like-
flexing again.
Yeah, I can't
Sorry.
afford that. Sorry.
Flex.
Yeah,
I
sorry,
got
yeah.
flex cash. And Tim, don't you pour me. Don't you do the poor thing.
No, now come on.
Sit there in your mainframe computer room.
Pissed off Shane. Bye, Shane. We'll let Shane
Yeah, you
come
need
back
to
in a
put in
moment.
some talk groups.
So
you'd
what they're
have to-
saying is nobody's talking, so it wouldn't matter, and that's just the naming of the talk group. That's not the actual. It sounds like they should figure out the talk groups on its own, but they just wouldn't have names. It would just be whatever the system number is.
Yeah.
By the way,
Right.
anyone need any radios?
My address is good on QRZ.
Yeah.
Steve, you don't want those radios.
I got a 3000 now that I barely use. Like twice a year, maybe.
So it sounds like we called this a success, but there was nobody here talking, so we couldn't hear them.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take the win. It looked like it was pretty. This was easier to set up because of all you guys in the chat at home. Regardless of how frustrating it was for you, it was just as frustrating for us, and we all got there together. So I greatly appreciate that. Next week is SDR Trunk, and I will be in a different location. So we will see.
And hopefully the internet will work well as well.
Tim,
How's
Frank,
that cat
Jim, thank
levitating
you.
over your head?
Kitty.
It's his other hand you can't see.
No. At no times have my hands left my arms.
Magic cat. Demon cat. It's
All right,
close
folks,
to-
thank you very much for all that watched, and we will see you next Monday. I'm hitting the button.
Do it.
7-3.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.